Kerith, will you unmute? And Kerry Kerith?
Yeah.
Open us up as we do all things and ground us in that philosophy, that thing that sets us aside from everyone, that thing that we call spiritual mind treatment. Will you open us up, friend?
Okay. Join me in recognizing that in and through, and as all life is the one cause, one spirit, that I know to be the creative power that gives life to everything that is and ever will be. It is forever unfolding, free-flowing through the perfect pattern of God. It has no beginning, it has no end. And it is always for the highest good of all life. I am a living part of this one mind, and so is everyone here. My life is a channel for God's divine goodness. I am immersed in it, as is all life. I am God's creative power made manifest. This one spirit that joyously and lovingly creates from itself. It is one thing, and it is all things. And with this understanding, I speak my word for and about myself and about all of us, about the entire CSL community. And I affirm God's greatness and intelligence in every aspect of our lives. I affirm a growing willingness to allow a bigger and a greater idea of God. We allow that which is seeking to emerge through each and every one of us to do so unobstructed. We cultivate a deepening trust in the divine and the ability to navigate through life in whichever shape, form, or experience that it chooses to show up as. We embrace our classes, our spiritual practices as they anchor us in truth. I am grateful for this awareness, for this revelation in each and every one of us. I give thanks for its perfect unfoldment in our lives. And I release my word into law, knowing it as done. I let go and let God. And so it is.
Oh, and so it is. Wow, Kerith, you just set this beautiful Froggy Friday up as Reverend Gwen and I join everybody today as we celebrate and welcome Reverend Pat to share our morning. But we want to let everybody know that we have an incredible celebration planned today. Reverend Gwen and I have some things to share. You are in good company as you are surrounded by practitioners. And at the end of our service of our community gathering today, Froggy Friday, if you require, if you desire, if you are longing for treatment, something to set your life straight and narrow on that path, or if you have an incredible life and you're wanting more of it, please make sure that you stick around and we have that opportunity to share and gift you that 2-minute miracle. That's what we like.
Please take the opportunity. Oh my God, they are here in service. So please take the opportunity.
Yes.
A gift, like Barb said, but it's a two-way gift. Yeah.
So how is everybody today, this evening, this morning? How is everyone? Let me see those spirit fingers. Come on. I think we need to set it off by singing a little song. Gwen, what do you think?
Yes, ma'am. You go for it.
Let's do it because Reverend Barb has her voice back. We are one people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. We are a part of one another. We're born to love each other. When it's all said and done, we are one. Reverend Gwen.
We are one people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. We are a part of one another, born to love each other. When it's all said and done, we are one.
We are one people, one strong heartbeat, just one spirit shining bright within us all. Well, we are a part of one another. We're born to love each other. When it's all said and done, we are one. Spirit fingers. When it's all said and done, we are one. Woo! I love hearing you. Christine, I heard you loud and clear this morning. I love hearing your voices singing. Woo!
Now she's got her voice back.
Way to go. So what we want you to know is that every Froggy Friday throughout the summer, we're having a variety of guest visitors.
Yes.
We have Reverend Pat today. Next Froggy Friday, which is in 2 weeks, we have Reverend Nadine Rogers. And following that, we have a whole summer series for everybody. Reverend Gwen and I are still with you. We're still hanging out. We're still having fun. Excuse me, still creating moments and memories. So before we go any further, we want to welcome you. We want to bless you. We want to thank you for joining us on this beautiful spiritual ride that we call CSL Kenya. And without further ado, unless Gwen, you had something else you wanted to add before we introduced Reverend Pat?
No, you go. Yeah, go for it.
So Reverend Pat is vital in our community. You know her. She's one of our teachers. She's one of our coordinators. She collaborates with Reverend Gwen and I and Michelle. And she is a graduate of Centers for Spiritual Living out of Kamloops. And Connie, Reverend Connie Phelps, was her teacher, her mentor, one of many. And I have the great honor and pleasure, because she's always in the background. I want you guys to know, when we do all of our, we're having all of our functions, Reverend Pat's always in the background operating things. And I want to make sure that she receives her kudos for all of that. And today I want us to put our spirit fingers up in the air as we welcome Reverend Pat Davies to shine her light as she's talking on a new God. Well, that's intriguing. Put your hands together, everyone. Woo!
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for asking me to do the talk today. So today I'm going to share a little bit about my journey to uncovering a new God. So plenty of people throw around the word spirituality, and by now most of us have heard someone say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. And that was one of the taglines that caught my attention when I first attended a service led by Reverend Connie here in Kamloops, British Columbia. And the fact that you're here on Froggy Friday suggests to me that you are on a spiritual journey. And so I want to acknowledge each of you for having come a long way in discovering and revealing for yourself who or what God is and isn't for you. So what does spirituality mean? One dictionary defines it as the quality of being concerned with a human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. And of course, spirituality will take on different meanings for each of us. Perhaps spirituality can mean looking at the larger picture and asking the big questions in life. What is my purpose? How can I serve the greater good? How do I attain inner peace? How do I overcome negative emotion and obstacles? Perhaps we can look at spirituality like climbing a mountain, where each person takes a different path to the top, but all arrive at the same destination. A week or so ago, I sat in contemplation, thinking about why I love this teaching of Science of Mind so much. Well, there are many, many more reasons that I could talk about than what I will talk about today. But I did remember that when I first came to this teaching, I was struggling with the whole concept of God. And of course, the word God. The word just didn't sit right with me. I recognized that I had this concept of God, this idea of God from my childhood, from attending traditional church, and from the many images I saw of this old white man with a long white beard, sitting in a chair, up in the clouds, sometimes holding a staff and sometimes pointing a finger, a scary kind of image that actually frightened me. And then, of course, there's this whole notion of being good enough to get into heaven. One of the principles of Centers for Spiritual Living is that heaven is the state of awareness of our true nature, and that we experience our true nature to the degree we become conscious of it, and that experience of our true nature is sure to be attained by all. I didn't like that whole idea that somewhere, someone, or something was sitting in judgment of me. My self-image and my judgment of myself was already pretty harsh, and I certainly didn't need anyone or anything reinforcing how poorly I thought about myself, about how I never felt like I was good enough. The only thing that I seemed to have enough of was shame and guilt, fear, hurt, and anger. I always felt like I had to prove myself, and that no matter what I did or how I did it, it wasn't enough. I didn't fit in. I didn't belong. I wasn't worthy. Of course, this was my internal struggle, because on the outside, I looked strong. I looked smart. I looked brave. I looked like a survivor, not a victim of life. Something that got me really excited about Science of Mind was the whole opportunity for self-growth and self-reflection. I had already spent years in therapy, reading self-help books, years of struggling, years of trying to find peace, trying to feel better about myself, years of believing that life was meant to be a struggle. Science of Mind has given me, or allowed me, to have freedom, to have a real sense of peace. Layers of shame, guilt, and blame now are feelings of the distant past. When they show up, they're more like faint memories or shadows, and are definitely not a part of my daily experience. Living in constant judgment can be a toxic way of life, whether you are being judged or you're the one doing the judging. Judgment robs me of the ability to hear my inner guide, my inner wisdom. The fear of not being loved and accepted can lead me to shunning and rejecting others in an attempt to ensure that I am not shunned or rejected. This teaching for me is all about becoming more conscious, becoming more aware, gaining clarity on how I want to live my life on a daily basis. I believe that I am both a biological machine and a spiritual being. My brain is both biochemistry and it's consciousness. And consciousness to me is a spiritual phenomena. What if it, the divine, God, is a natural, fundamentally physical, and scientifically comprehensible? In Hinduism, Brahma, also known as absolute reality, an impersonal or transpersonal God, is held to be identical in each person. The veil of Maya is the illusion of our separateness from Brahma or God. In the Hindu greeting, Namaste is sometimes translated as the God in me recognizes the God in you. This is a concept of God that resonates deeply with me. I'm drawn to the idea that God is not something separate and distinct from human consciousness. I see God as something closer to an abstract concept rather than to an actual being. God is consciousness. God is the totality of individual conscious beings. We are all God. I am a manifestation of God, and so are you. And so is the cow grazing in the field, and so is the dog chasing after a ball. I remember studying with Reverend Connie and being excited about the whole idea that the God that she was talking about was impersonal, and that God operated through universal laws, and that all I needed to do was to understand them and to learn how to work with these universal laws. It wasn't until much later that this whole concept of God being love actually came through to me, and that God was in fact two sides of the same coin, love and law. Through Reverend Connie and classes, I was able to get a new, more expanded idea of God. I had to move away from my negative and fear-based ideas that I had about God, that I had learned growing up, that I heard on television, read about in books, this God of duality, this God that was separate, this God that was out there, this God that was controlling, and this God that was actually making me feel like a victim. Through classes, I had an opportunity to examine my earliest concepts of God. A shift began to happen as I took classes and I showed up on Sundays. My idea of God moved from a very limited Christian concept to the idea, to the possibility that whatever God was in me, a part of me, and ultimately, I was a part of it. All of this learning, self-examination, becoming a conscious observer of my thoughts, understanding my core beliefs, increasing my awareness, all tied in with me developing a whole new concept of God, my new God. The teachings of Science of Mind have opened me up to give and receive love on so many different levels. It has given me a sense of calm and peace because I'm not busy judging and assigning labels, imagining positive and negatives. I am so much better equipped to see the beauty of life, to be present in the moment, and to be in awe of God. I love the whole idea of freedom of choice, the freedom to change my thinking, to change my life, and to have faith in my own intuition, my inner guidance, my inner wisdom, my inner truth, the God within. My journey to a new God has not been a small task. And in fact, I continue to grow and evolve this whole idea of God each and every day. There are so many ways I've incorporated spirituality and God into my life. Some things I do every day, some I do once in a while. Sometimes I do things when I remember. And sometimes I just do things and then realize later that it was actually a spiritual activity. Sometimes it may not seem like any one particular spiritual practice gives me the answer I'm looking for, but I can only attest to how different the quality of my life is since I found Science of Mind. Many successful people like Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey begin their day by meditating or praying. For me, it is so important to daily practice a few moments of mindfulness or to actually meditate. Years ago, I said, I can't meditate. My mind is too busy. I'm thinking of too many things. There's no way I can quiet it down or settle it down. And then an opportunity came up to go on a weekend retreat with Reverend Connie. The instructor walked us through a step-by-step method for meditation. And by the end of the weekend, meditation seemed to come to me more naturally. I wasn't fighting against it. I wasn't struggling. I actually found myself in a meditative state a few times over the weekend. And now I had my own evidence. I had my own proof. I had my own experience that this was in fact something that I could do. Spiritual practice can be as simple as walking in a purposeful and conscious way. In fact, many religions around the world practice a type of walking meditation. Spending time in nature is one of the best spiritual activities. And apparently, for many people, once they've had some kind of significant spiritual shift, there's often a drive, a calling, a wanting to be in nature more. It's so easy to fill our minds and days from the moment we wake up until we go to bed. And usually most of our doings are pre-planned. The problem with this is that we need space and silence to create an opening for inspiration, for guidance, and for something new to happen. The silence gives space in extraordinary ways that we could not have imagined. Silence allows us to see our strengths and weaknesses. It allows me to connect with my inner wisdom, my God. There's a saying, count your blessings, which kind of sounds cliche. But through this teaching, I learned about keeping a gratitude journal, or simply reflecting on the good people or the good things in my life. Have you ever experienced a random act of kindness given to you by a stranger? Do you remember how good it feels? That kindness has a ripple effect. When we are kind, no matter how small our acts of kindness are, we experience kindness coming back to us. When I'm kind, I feel my soul opening, expanding, and embracing the world. I feel transformed. I feel like I can help transform the world to a world that works for everyone. One of the reasons religion and spirituality can have so many positive effects is that it tends to bring together a community of people who can support each other, just like we do at CSL Kenya, where we make friends with like-minded people. I know everyone has a busy schedule, but there is a Zen saying which goes like this: you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day, unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. Now, that may sound like a little frustrating, but you don't need to take it quite so literally. Perhaps you could interpret it like this: if something is easy for you to do, work on it a little. If it's hard for you to do, work on it a lot. The whole idea of science of mind really teaches us how to think, not what to think. It's not even a specific instruction on how to think, because we have to figure that part out too. It's more like becoming aware, becoming awake, becoming who we truly are. There's no real dogma, no real rules, which generally I don't like rules. You know, maybe it has something to do with my upbringing, you know, being in a military family. But the rule in science of mind seems to me to be to trust yourself, to trust the God within. And that's a rule I can live with. A world that works for everyone begins in my mind. Finding a world that works within me begins with me. And the more I've come to terms with who Pat is, the more I've come to terms with the outside world of effect. I am a forever student. I am always learning. I am always evolving. And in fact, I just signed up for a series of mentoring classes with a very well-known science of mind minister. And yesterday, he sent out an email. Now, there's no such thing as coincidence, right? And so attached to this email are 2 short articles that he asked us to review for our first session. And not surprising, the first one is simply titled Consciousness. And then the second one is, wherever you go, there you are. Your consciousness never takes a vacation. What if God was one of us? What if you focused on God all week long? What would be possible for you? So today, my invitation to you is to keep on learning, to keep on growing, to keep on evolving your idea of a new God. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
What's my idea? Oh, the things that make you go,
And
Honestly.
the last thing you left me with is that song, what if God was one of us? I'm always
I
thinking
went there
in
too.
song.
I went there too.
But what a beautiful a reminder. And through your story and through your eyes, Pat, thank you so much for that gift this morning. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Does anyone have any questions of Reverend Pat? We love to open
Just
up
unmute
the
yourself.
floor.
Yeah.
Unmute yourself and just, or put your hand up and let's get to it. That was a great reminder.
What I would love to hear too now after having this talk is maybe your new idea of God since coming into the science of mind. I'm having an idea that it probably changed a little.
Well, I love this because the treatment that Kerith gave and the talk that you gave today, Pat, I need. Some of you may or may not know, but I've got a broken ankle. I broke my ankle this week. And it just is a reminder, actually, not to slow down, but to don't forget to continue to do the things that I do, which are those meditations, which are those prayers, which knowing that this too is good and this too is God. You know, you think, oh, I broke my bone. How can that be good? I'm excited to see what's going to outpicture from all of that. And you've reminded me of that. And so has Kara. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi,
Patrick.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Reverend Pat. And you, as Reverend Barbara says, you reminded us a lot. Particularly when I was growing up, I grew up as a Catholic, and we went to what we call catechism. And in the catechism book, we saw the picture of God. Is it Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci who drew God with a long white beard? So when you mentioned white beard, I remembered mine. And I remember I'm in the image, although mine is not long. And so you reminded us, what if God is one of us? And that is a true reminder because we are one with him, we are one. And as a child, although this did not come very well as a child, even attending those catechism classes, you would realize you can never hide from God because wherever you go, he's there. But what we did not realize then, that him, God being everywhere, he was also through me, he was in me. And because of that fact, I can never leave or get away from him because wherever I go, there he is. So it was, it was a very, a good reminder. Thank you very much.
I love that you said that, Patrick. And for those of us out there, who recognize God as everything. So you are a man, and so he would be he. It is not outside of you. For me, God is, I refer to God as it because it is man, woman, dog, cat, air, breath, it is everything. And so I say it, and I love that. Or goddess. How many of us out there love to just refer to the goddess, within each and every one of us? So I love that reminder too. Everything that we're saying is so clear. Thank you, Patrick. Catholicism.
When I first came into Science of Mind, I was so relieved to find out that God was this universal energy. Because, you hear those sayings, God is everywhere. And it's like, how? Like, I know it can be, but how? I wanted to know how God could be anywhere. And then that same thing that you said, God knows what we're doing all the time. It's like, how? How can it possibly be? But then when I got it described as that universal energy, that everything is energy, and it's the vibration that makes the difference in how it shows up. Oh, that just fell in for me so clearly. And I could really accept that concept of energy. And so the vibration matters. And then, so do you want to vibrate at a, what did you say, Pat? You were vibrating at a judgmental and shameful level, and it really sucked up everything you had. But then when you lighten it up with the vibration of love and joy and kindness, everything lightens up. It doesn't suck up you. It feeds you. It fills you up. So that was my big aha when I first came in. But I felt relieved in knowing that stuff and making that shift. Welcome, David.
Hi, David.
Thank you.
So anybody else have that concept of God that just shifted so much? Crispin.
Okay, mine is just to thump up Reverend Pat. There's a concept that I've just grasped from her teaching that says that we ought to learn how to think and not learning what to think. I find that that one applying so much into my life, because at times one can find himself or herself in the falsehood, which me as a student of this concept, I have a responsibility to know how to deal with every situation that comes my way. And upon learning how to think, I think it consciously invites one to know what to think. By knowing what to think, you are able to actually control your game plan, especially after recognizing and knowing that life is a game, not a struggle. When you know what to think, or when you know how to think, you can invite the consciousness of knowing what to think. So you're able to choose what you want to think, and eventually you get it right. And I thank Pat for that.
Thank you, Crispin. Yeah. Well, we always got told what to think in other religions, like that we are always judged, so behave, and that you won't get into that pearly gates. But we're all going to arrive there well used and living up our lives, because now we know how to think and how we can shift our thinking into a creative perspective. Change it up. If you don't like it, change it up.
Just had an image of sliding into home plate and saying, whoo, what a ride.
What a ride.
Look what you've sparked in all of us today, Reverend Pat. This is beautiful.
Exactly.
Well, listen, there's a couple of things that before we get to our affirmations and moving on with our celebration of today, Reverend Gwen and I want to share with all of you. We have announced it, and many of you know it firsthand, but our dear Reverend Gwen is coming to Kenya in the fall, in October. We are so excited. So there are so many things that we are planning in her agenda and in her diary that she will be attending and doing. Excuse me. Including one will be a Froggy Friday in-person service. We're hoping. Fingers crossed. Sorry.
Oops.
And the other thing that we want you to know is in the spring, in March of 2023, Reverend Gwen and myself will be coming and attending Kenya. And we're going to come and hang out with all of you. And then the following fall, 1 year from when Gwen comes this year, I will come, and maybe she will come back as well. And then in January 2024, the date is actually February 2nd. Yeah, Duke, come on, Duke.
Yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Yeah, you're reading my mind. We are having our conference where we met many of you a couple of years ago. We will be having our conference, and we're inviting you. And we're inviting family and friends. It's in Nairobi. And Reverend Gwen is coming to solidify some things, and along with Nancy, who has been helping in Lamech, they are going to secure our venues, our activities. And so things are happening. So Gwen, Barb and Gwen, Barb and everybody. That's our agenda as we lead up into these next 24 months.
And, you know, coming up for October, once we get a loose schedule, it might be kind of loose. We don't want it too tight and strict, but we'll share it with you, and then you can make plans to attend and save those dates and connect and be with me.
So save the dates. We will let you know, but you can mark your diary right now. You can mark your calendar. February, let me go to my calendar and tell you. I should have the date off by heart, but I'm going to tell you February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
2024.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2024. 2024.
So David and Lucia, you've got to make your plans to travel. Anybody up at Kisi and Kisumu, you know, we're gonna put that out there and put those seeds out there that you're traveling to Nairobi to participate and attend. So we're planting seeds. We're growing.
So we're
watering the seeds. We're nurturing it.
We will have incredible speakers. We will have brilliant music. We will have a kids program. There is just going to be so much happening. Tendai, we expect you to be there, sister. Come on, make your plans. Mark your diary now. Share it with all your friends. Yep, we're coming. And Claire, I know that you're coming. My fingers are crossed. I speak it into the universe. My idea of God always says yes to me.
And
Michelle
Karen's enjoying her jet lag so much, she wants to travel more.
Reverend Pat and Karen are coming, and each and every one of you will be the heartbeat of this conference. And we are so excited that you will be there with us. So we wanted to plant these seeds today. We wanted to water them, as Reverend Gwen said. We want you to expect and anticipate our arrival. And we are so excited because of it as well. So spread the word. Let's talk about it. Let's create that buzz. Let's get it happening. Philip, you're going to be vital in this. You don't know what you're doing yet. Neither do we, but we're doing it, and we're doing it together. Duke, Alfred, everybody, Agnes, Kerith, everyone. We are making this happen. Yes, Philip's like, yeah, I'm in. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
So that's a great thing what he just did. He put the heart up, and that's when opportunity knocks. In other words, when God knocks, we better answer. Right? Yep. We better answer. Patrick's like, I'm bravo, son, bravo.
This is when you get to practice your spiritual practice of saying yes.
Oh, and we will have newly licensed practitioners, and we will have our oh so close ministerial students having graduated. Christine's on here with us today. And so much is happening and so much life to share. And not make up for. I don't want you to think we have to make up for anything. I want us to move into the new idea and the greater idea of what's ours to express and embrace. I'm so excited, and we could hardly wait to tell you. And you will hear this from me again and again every time we're together, just so you know.
So the other thing I want you to is our 6 students, practitioner students, they're finishing up. They're going into their paneling. And what paneling is that they sit before 3 panelists, and they will not express their consciousness of being a practitioner with these 3 panelists. And so we want to hold them in the highest regard. We want to hold them in love, and we want to hold them in confidence while they pursue this last piece towards their licensing. So that is Nancy, Kerith, Alfred, Paul, and Agnes, and Flaminia. So just when you bring them to mind, hold them high, and just know this. And so we're having a mock panel tomorrow, and we are having the big true panel on the 23rd. So bless them and keep them. Okay. Thank you. That was another thing I wanted everybody to know, because this is a key piece to the leadership of our CSL Kenya.
Absolutely. And we're so proud. We could not be more proud and just really excited for what's yet to come for each and every person that fuels into this community of ours. Okay. So let's solidify this with some affirmations. Reverend Gwen, Reverend Pat wrote these affirmations. Reverend Pat. She wrote these affirmations, and the way that it will work, Pat, is you will say them. Everybody should unmute and repeat after you. So everyone unmute. Patrick, Crispin, everyone unmute.
Sorry.
Okay. Patrick, you're not unmuted. I can see that you're still muted. Okay. So be still and know that I am God.
Be still
still
and
know
know
that I am God.
I am open and receptive to an ever expanding idea of God.
I
I am
am open and receptive to ever expanding idea of God.
Expanding the idea of God.
God is anew in every moment, as I am anew in every moment.
God is new in every moment,
Every moment,
and I am
I
anew.
am new every moment.
And so it
So
is.
it is.
think of
And
that.
so it is.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know. Thank you, Reverend Pat.
I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening. Little impromptu. Beautiful. Woo! We got lots going on. So thank you all for being here. This has been an honor and a privilege. I'm going to call on Nancy to give us a closing treatment. And then we are going, can everybody put their hands up who wants prayer? Maybe put it on their little sign or their.
Just, I'll show the reaction. There's your reaction for your hand up. Right,
There
or
you
your
go.
thumb.
Reaction, that's what I want. So if you want prayer today, we have practitioners. We've got Irene wants prayer, 10-day wants prayer. Come on. If you want challenges in your life, or if you have more and more good in your life, put your hand up. Christine, yeah, really, that's awesome.
I don't know whose phone that is, but I liked it.
Little Caribbean. Okay. So Nancy, if you will unmute yourself, bring us into alignment as we go into our days, whether it's evening or days, and close us out.
Okay, I will do a benediction.
Okay.
And so as we bring our time together to a close, I just want to say thank you. I am grateful for all the teaching that has happened here, grateful for our communion in love, grateful that we keep on loving, learning, and evolving. I am grateful for this CSL community and for all the blessings that we bring to each other. And so I bless us as we step out into our roles and into our everyday lives, that we keep remembering that we are divinely guided and that we can trust the God within us. And we are the presence of God everywhere we are. So until we come together again, and so it is.
And so it is.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
I love that.
You
are all
okay,
so
what a
brilliant.
day, what a day.
What a day.
So, Michelle, have you got Lucia, Christine, and 10-day covered?
I did not get 10-day covered, but that's great. She's going to go with Nancy. There we go. All right.
Got your rooms. You just got to click in. Christopher, are you wanting prayer?
I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
I just saw you unmuted.
And for
Are
those
you
of you,
healthy?
Chris, yeah, there
Yeah.
goes Christine. You can, Christine might be frozen. Sorry, Christopher. Okay.
thank you for joining us, David Duke.
Oh,
Christopher,
Mewendwa, thank you for coming in. I haven't seen you. That's
Karen, thank
awesome.
you all for joining us. We're so grateful and happy to see you. Next time is Reverend Nadine Rogers. I'm going to stop the recording.